Hey, everybody, I'm your host, Grande Gato, also known as the Big Cat. My cool cat, put your balls up. If you're rocking with the Big Cat today, we're going to talk about Donte Jackson. Can he be a number one cornerback for the Carolina Panthers? We'll talk about it, but first, before we get started, do you love the Carolina Panthers like I love the Carolina Panthers? Yes? No? Maybe? Do you love the Carolina Panthers like I love the Carolina Panthers, man? It's watch day had to bring out the great number one. If you love the Carolina Panthers like I love the Carolina Panthers, give me that dab. We'll talk about Donte Jackson. Can he fill the number one cornerback position? Let's get into it.
Here we go.
Before we get started, make sure you subscribe, click that notification bell so you don't miss a video. If you're missing video, if you're missing live streams, you need to go right next to the subscribe button, click that bell, and turn it to always so you don't miss a video. Now, after this year's draft, the Carolina Panthers, I believe, nailed it. Matt Rule and Marty Herney did a great job. But two big questions that we were left with after the draft. What about this offensive line, especially that middle? And the main question for a lot of us is the cornerback spot. Last year we had James Bradbury, Ross Cockrell, Javen Elliott, Cole Luke, and even Corn Elder. Most of those guys are gone, which asks the number one question on the board. Can Donte Jackson be the number one cornerback for the Carolina Panthers? I'm optimistic. I want to see how Matt Rule is going to swing this. Will it kind of be like a cornerback by committee? Would it be like, there's no true number one quarterback? It's just, whoever matches up the best that day? Will it kind of be something like that? I don't know. But let me tell you something. Donte, I'm rooting for you, man. I think you can. And here's why. A lot of times Donte got a very bad rep, y'all. Let's slow it down. Let's take our time with this. Dating all the way back to All or Nothing series, there were clips on there where it seems like he was, egotistic. It's kind of real, just superficial, right? That's how it was painted. Donte came out, he refuted that, saying that's not who he is. We also seen clips where he was in the training room where Mike Adams, Captain Mutterland, those guys were talking to him about how he's a great cornerback. He just needs to learn, and he was just bragging about his interceptions. I mean, it looks bad. I'm not gonna lie about it. The way it was painted on camera, the way we seen him in a locker room, it looks bad. But I want to come to his defense, y'all. Donte Jackson is a man of passion. You know what I mean? I believe anybody in this world who doesn't have passion cannot achieve greatness.
Message.
And if you're gonna if you have passion, it doesn't mean you're perfect, but it means you care. That means you embellish the opportunity to be great. And I think he does. I think he relishes that a whole lot. He just has to learn how to keep that under wraps at times. You know what I mean? Because people, when you're losing, it's not fun. And people who care actually get mad. And he cares. You know what I mean? If you're on a losing team, you're 5-11, and you're talking about which flight you can catch to Costa Rica, you're on the wrong team. So let's knock it off with that. I think he'll bounce back. Now, if you ask me, can he line up against against the Julio Jones, the Michael Thomas, the Mike Evans? I think you're asking a tall task. He's an athletic guy, 4'2", 4'3" kind of guy, 41-inch vertical, but he's only 5'10", 181 pounds. Mike Evans, Julio Jones, and Michael Thomas, they tend to eat smaller guys. So, again, I'm going to say, benefit of the doubt, but more than likely, I think they're going to try to do a cornerback by committee. I would like to see Chin match up down there with Julio and Mike Thomas. Again, he's a bigger guy, plays safety and cornerback. No matter who we have at number one, they're going to have to be groomed. But the only knock I can say against Donte Jackson is not his talent. It's more so about his size when it comes to on the field. You know what I mean? It's going to be a hard sell for me to see him as a number one, but I think he definitely has the talent. If you look up on your screen right here, you'll see his numbers compared to 2018. Again, not too far off. A little less tackling. He had 40 tackles this year, 8 assists, 3 interceptions for 25 yards. He had in 2018, who I believe to be the defensive rookie of the year. He didn't get it, but he had 74 combined tackles, 11 assists, 4 interceptions. So he didn't fall off too bad. Donte Jackson's problem was more so about concentrating, locking in, and focusing. You know what I mean? couple times this year he got beat on double moves, and it looked bad on tape. But for the most part, and I'm going to show you here where his numbers weren't that bad off. They weren't that bad off, man. If he can develop consistency, if he can develop humility, I think he'll be all right, man. You know what I mean? And again, I'm not saying that he's a thug or no gangster. He's not none of that shit. Again, when you're passionate, you love what you do, when you take pride in what you do, you know, sometimes it goes over the top. You know what I mean? There have been great men and great women who were full of passion that have made mistakes or haven't necessarily said the right thing or did the right thing, but that doesn't make them less of a person. But I definitely think he definitely has to have it under control if he wants to elevate himself as a superstar. If you look up on your screen right here, in 2019, let's talk about the opportunity that he had. He played over 81% of the share snap, which was 37 at his position. He lined up in the slot, which was second at position, 1.4% of the time. Targets allowed, 18th. 63 targets allowed, averaging 5.3 targets per game. So almost 6 targets per game that he allowed. Target rate, 20%. He defended over 316 routes, 26.3 routes per game. Average distance that he defended was over 14.9 yards. So when they did attack him, they attacked him downfield. Target accuracy, 2.48%. So again, not the best numbers, but it's not the worst. Again, he was kind of like middle of the road. If you look on your screen again, when it comes to productivity, the average separation that he allowed was 0.98%, which was 25th. Not bad. Receptions allowed, he allowed 41 receptions, 3.4 per game. Again, the difference between receptions allowed and target allowed is when they're actually targeting you, doesn't mean they complete it, but they actually target you. So again, in receptions allowed, he allowed 41, gave up 3.4 per game. Yardage allowed, 764 yards. Not bad, y'all. Look, 63.7 per game. 63 yards per game. That's pretty solid. 60th at his position. When it comes to yard per receptions allowed. Yards per reception allowed, 18.6, which was 78. So when he did give up a reception, it was usually around 18.6 yards allowed. Not the best. The yardage per target, when they target him, they usually target him 12.1 yards down the field, 78th. He had 5 breakups, which was top 50 at cornerback's position. Touchdowns allowed, he allowed 6 against 2 interceptions. Not bad. Again, his numbers weren't that far off from last year. And last but not least, if you look up on the screen, his efficiency. When it comes to coverage rating, it was a negative 0.89. Burn rate is pretty much when the receiver has a 5 yards of separation or more down the field, and that happened 4.8% of the time. Catch rate allowed, 65.1%. You want to kind of get that down, you know what I mean? Passer rating allowed, 126.9. So when they targeted him, the quarterback was on the money.
Come on now, dog. Come on, man.
So I want to move on and show you what this looks like when it comes to actual opponents. I know a lot of you guys don't understand necessarily the metric side of it, but you do understand what it means when it comes to different opponents. If you look up on your screen right here, you'll see in week 1, his primary target was Brandon Cooks. He had 100% of the snaps that game. They targeted him 5 times. He gave up 4 receptions for 50 yards, including 1 pass breakup. I don't know if you guys necessarily consider Brandon Cooks still an elite receiver. I kind of do. My man had 4 years of over 1,000 yards receiving with 3 different teams. How the hell is he traded around so much? I don't know. He had a down year this year. I'm not sure if he got hurt, only had 542 yards. But D-Jack did his thing against Brandon Cook. I think it was a good matchup because they both were quick receivers and quick corner. Again, this guy right here made the Pro Bowl in week 2. Chris Godwin. Donte Jackson played 66.1% of the shares of snaps. They targeted him 8 times. He gave up 4 receptions for 71 yards. Week 3, Damiere Byrd, 98% of targets. 98% share snaps. 6 targets, only gave up 3 receptions for 16 yards. And he had an interception. That's the game where he walked on air. Jesus walked on water. Donte Jackson walked on air that game. That was a beautiful pick, by the way. Week 8, the 49ers. He played against Emmanuel Sanders. 68.3% snaps, 3 targets, 2 receptions, 10 yards. Of course, that was a blowout of our ass. Week 9, A.J. Brown, Tennessee Titans. They targeted him 6 times. Gave up 3 receptions, 46 yards. Not bad at all. Again, you see where I'm going here. They targeted him a lot, and he only gave up a little reception. There was only like 2 or 3 games where he got abused. You'll see here shortly. Devonte Adams, Green Bay Packers, Week 10. They targeted him 5 times. Gave up 43 yards. This was the game where I was telling you he bit on the double move. And again, when it comes to Donte Jackson, and it's not just Donte Jackson, it's a lot of speedy cornerbacks. When you get these athletic, speedy cornerbacks, they fall in love with their talent. You know what I mean? Again, I hate to do this, but one thing I love about Bradbury, he trusts his technique. Now, just because you trust your technique doesn't mean you can't get burnt. Now, that's not say that either. But more times than not, you put yourself in a favorable position. And with D-Jack, at times, he knows he's athletic, he knows he's talented, he gets dirty eyes. You know, the corner. Listen, we're in a division where you can't get dirty eyes. You get happy feet. You get happy-handed. You know what I mean? You see that ball coming, and the quarterback plays you just right, man. You're going against Drew. You're going against Tom. You're going against Matt Ryan. So, again, get rid of those dirty eyes. Trust your technique. And let's move on. Week 11, again, Calvin Ridley. They target him 8 times. 8 times. And gave up 7 receptions for 132 yards. Calvin really did him dirty that game. That's the game he exploded on the interim coach. Week 12, New Orleans, 83.1% snap played, 6 targets, 4 receptions, 75 yards against Ted Ginn, his primary target. 1 reception allowed against 5 targets. Week 13 against the Redskins, Terry McLaurin was his cover. And week 14, again, Calvin Ridley and DK Metcalf really gave him the business. I mean, if you really look on the screen right here, 6 targets, 6 receptions given up. That's not good. Against 1 pass breakup and 155 yards. And DK Metcalf, week 15, 146 yards given up, 5 targets, 5 receptions completed. So again, he didn't really have too many bad games if you look on here. I mean, Calvin Ridley and DK Metcalf were really his worst games, okay? And again, you can't fall in love with your speed, like I said before. You can't get dirty eyes. You know, I think at times, you think as you run a 4.3, you feel like, if I get dirty eyes, I can make up for it. No. This is not the, in college football, you may be able to fool some of those quarterbacks and shit like that, or you may be able to recover. You got receivers running 4.3s, and you got quarterbacks that know exactly what you're doing. So, all in all, man, I got to say Donte Jackson is a hell of a cornerback. I think he can be number 1. He has the talent to be number 1. Let me say that. He has the athletic ability to be number 1. But can he actually be number 1? I don't know, man. That remains to be seen. It's time to put up or shut up. You know what I mean? A lot of barking, a lot of woofing. It's time to put up or shut up, man. But I just don't see it happen. I think he has the intangibles, but I just don't see it happen. I think Phil Snow is more so to have him be more like a cornerback by cornerback by committee. You know what I mean? Pretty much which cornerback matches up against this guy the best this week. I can really see that. You know what I mean? And do I think his mentality will get in the way this year? I don't think so. I think he learned. I think he's more mature. Again, I have him coming back, being my comeback player of the year this year on defense. You know what I mean? How do you guys think how do you guys see if somebody like Chin will go in there at cornerback, or maybe Pride go in there at cornerback, and they just have a hell of a year? I mean, do Donte will take kindly to that? How would you guys think? I got him as my comeback player of the year, but I don't know if he can necessarily be cornerback. Like, again, we got some physical receivers, man. He's a little guy, man, fast guy. You know what I mean? So, I don't know, man. I'm your host. Get in the comment section. Let's continue this conversation. Tell me what you guys think. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Tune into the podcast. Check out Anchor FM. Follow me on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, KeepPounding_TV. Also, Facebook, El Grande Gato, my personal page. Gmail, PanthersNews247 at gmail.com. If you want to talk, you want me on your podcast, whatever. Let's get up out of here, man. Let the church say. Let the church say that.